presentation on two. Nice to see all you guys in frame. CAO was happy with the picture, and if you guys are ready, we'll start a little bit early. Okay, CSA Ames, this is Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Thank you. With us this morning, we have Dr. Angela Buckley and Dr. Jim Stigma, as well as 132 inspired students from 36 countries across the globe who are eager to learn from you. We're going to start immediately with questions so that we can cycle through and respond to all the wonderful questions that they prepared for you this morning. The first question is for Bob Thirsk from Natalie Panic.
When you first entered the ISS, what was your impression regarding the size, habitability, and comfort of the interior? And has this changed over time since your arrival?
Hi, Natalie. The training simulators that we have in Russia, the United States, and elsewhere are very good, so I was not fooled by the size of the station. It is very big. The habitability is an interesting concept, though. The International Space Station is a working, sophisticated scientific and maintenance center, and it's a bit overwhelming for me the first day that I arrived here. But it's less so now. I'm more familiar with it. It's becoming familiar like a glove. If anyone has experiences that are limited only to five-star hotels, then the International Space Station is not for them. We lack some conveniences related to eating and sleeping and personal cleaning, but we're the type of people that enjoy adventure, and we can put up with a few inconveniences.
Thank you. Marlene Clausen, please ask your question to Frank Levin.
What are some of the most challenging health issues that astronauts face in space environments?
Hello, Marlene. Thank you for your question. Well, there are several health issues, of course, that we face here at the space station. One is radiation, but of course we're still within the Van Allen radiation belt, so we're still a little bit protected by the Earth magnetosphere, and also the space station has a very good shell which protects us from radiation. Also the sleeping quarters usually are protecting us. The other issue, of course, here at the space station is an environment that we don't know on Earth, is microgravity. Because of microgravity, we have bone loss, loss of minerals in our bone and bone structure loss, and also our muscles. We also have loss of strength in our muscles. For that, we do a lot of exercising, but also we do some experiments to see how in the future we can better counteract these losses. One of these experiments is conducted by Japanese and American scientists with Bob and Koichi. It's called biphosphonates. Another one in which I'm participating, for example, is SOLO, which is also looking at bone loss. So I think those are the most burning issues with health here on, in orbit.
Thank you. The next question is for Roman Romanko from Daniela Petrova.
Hello. How many of the resources associated with our onboard life support are recycled?
There are two assemblies up here. One of them generates oxygen from the technical water and from the condensate. And second one is urine processing assembly, which makes potable water for preparation of our food from the urine.
Thank you. The next question is from Mar Vaquero Escribano from Life Barrett.
How might the results of the experiments that you have performed at orbit be useful for future news and Mars exploration missions?
That's a great question. I'll first say that the station does many things besides experiments, and one of those is just to learn how to live well in space, and that includes all the systems that keep us happy and healthy for long periods of time. for experiments, as Dr. Thirsk said, there's some things that we'd like to know a little bit better before we send people off at weightlessness for 2 to 3 years to a round-trip Mars mission. So all the things about muscle, bone, overall metabolism, radiation protection, we'd like to know that a little bit more. But almost as importantly, the station becomes a place where we can learn to create systems that have reliability that will last for years, essentially. So our life support system, oxygen generation, food and water, we really need to learn to decrease our dependence on the ground before we can pull away for 2 to 3 years for a voyage to Mars and back. And so the space station actually becomes like a low Earth orbit wind tunnel, if you will, where we can test these systems and make sure that they have the reliability that will serve us for a 2 to 3 year mission to Mars and back.
And we've come to our last question from Heather Haynes for Bob Thirsk.
Hi, Bob. Because teaching and learning is a big part of what all of us do, I'm the teacher in Vancouver, BC. You've obviously had a lifetime of learning, and all of us here at the ISU are really excited about the lectures we have coming up. I'm wondering if you think that someday professors will give courses from the ISS to perhaps the students on Earth, and I guess what we're all really wondering is if any of you guys feel like giving us a lecture, I think we would all find the time to attend.
Hi, Heather. Great question. The International Space Station is getting more and more well-equipped with communications equipment. Just today's conference with you is a good example of that. And I would imagine that on a future moon base and on a Mars vehicle as well, that the communication equipment would be very good. So I think that the International Space Station does have the capability to allow astronauts to give lectures from space. We can do it in real time or with recorded messages. From the moon and Mars, it might be a little bit more difficult or impossible to do it in real time, but certainly they could be done in a recorded fashion. Probably the biggest limitation would be astronauts' times. We probably couldn't give a series of lectures, but I think giving a lecture once or twice would be something that we can manage with our time here. And you'd have 6 volunteers right here, I guarantee that.
Well, that's all the time we have for questions this morning. Expedition 1920, thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for taking the time to share your knowledge with the next generation of global space program explorers. We wish you great success and Godspeed during your respective returns to Earth.